Oh boy, it's warm. It's hot. It's hot tonight. Hello, everybody. Octo is here. He has arrived. I have arrived. And you have arrived too. This is your arrival as much as it is mine. Robert Blake. Good evening, Josh. Hope you are well. I'm very well, thank you. How are you, Robert? Are you well? Hello, Matt the Hat. I don't know how long we're going to be live tonight, because wearing clothes is generally quite difficult for my health right now. It is so hot. We are live, and tonight we are going to be doing a couple of different things. Tonight we are going to be beginning the build of the Titan. It is here. It has been washed. It has not been prepped. But we're going to be doing that. Good evening, Mark. Hello, Dave. Hello, Jack. I don't know what it is ambiently outside or what it is in Fahrenheit, but in my office right now it's 33 degrees Celsius. Which isn't nice. And I've got a fan on. But yes, tonight we're going to be beginning the build of the Titan, and we're going to be discussing what's more complex, building this Titan or the state of 40k. Spoiler alert. It's probably the Titan. Octo says he may have gone overboard with his successor chapter. In what way, my good man? Have you built them in a complicated manner, or is the paint scheme 55,000 colours? Because there's no such thing as overboard. Oh. Now, as I say, I've done all the washing. I didn't film it. But I've washed it. I've washed the Titan. All of the resin is clean. Here it is. Here's my big box of Warhound. It's a Warhound. HGen 089. It is a Warhound Titan. So, as I say, it's clean now. I'm pretty certain I need to get some 2-part epoxy and a razor saw, because some of these bits are just like, you know, chunky, like those gates there, for example. But just pour some glue in, shake the box, done, easy. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that would be a. It makes such nerve-wracking noises whenever I do that. But yeah, so we're gonna go on a hunt now for bits, because we need the feet. We need the toes. Give me them toes. We don't need the leg. Reject humanity, embrace Warhound Titan. All right. These are not part of the toes, or are they part of the toes? They might be part of the toes. I can't remember. I don't know what I've done with the instructions. They're here somewhere. Those oh so illuminating instructions for the Warhound Titan. Okay. Small toe piston. Gonna need that. That's a hip piston. That is a toe piston. Good evening, Chewy. Hey, Philip Gomez. They may or may not be a successor to a Traitor Legion, but are definitely in the Imperium's database. A Carcharodon successor. They also have white, which is pain. I don't have the Apothecary white yet. The rest of them is Volupus pink and Pterodon turquoise over silver, Alpha Boy style. Well, that's very nice, Octo. That doesn't sound overboard at all to me. That sounds just on the money. I have no idea what this bit is for. Right. There's got to be a better way of storing this thing. Good evening, toes. It's not good. I mean, it might be a good evening for toes. Who knows? I'm gonna have to. I'm genuinely gonna have to come up with a filing system for this. This is just one of those things. Building a Warhound Titan is harder than building a stable economy from scratch. Don't tell me that. Aha, toes. We have more toes. Gimme them toes! And we need... Hang on. I think the... Yes. Yes. I dropped it. Okay. So we need a bucket. Small toe piston. That's what we need. We need one of those. One of these bits. One of these doodads. How many toes will be left? How many toes? How many bits will be left when I'm finished? What you get to keep all of the bits that I leave out. I like that. I'm game for that. Is that the small toe, the rear toe joint? It looks like it. But also not in a strange way. Okay, I'm starting to get. I'm starting to piece it together, right? Okay. 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 So we need the front toe joint. What guns will you give it? Any goal for the Titan? Any particular foe it needs to vanquish in the name of the Corpse Emperor? I've got the Vulcan Mega Bolter, and I've got the Plasma Blast Gun. And to answer your question about particular foes, no, there are no particular foes. Only all of them, forever and ever. Hello, Daniel. Okay, I think we've got enough bits. Idea for a kit bash, give it a fedora. The Warhound is one of the few models that I think would get away with having a fedora. Okay, so we'll go on to scene. You don't need these bits. They can go. My favourite beard guy. I am here. Oh, my favourite vampire. Vlad... No. Yes, Vlad the Impaler. You're here. My man. Okay. What have we got here? Okay, so those are the rear... That's the rear toes. Okay? You can tell by the trim. And then these are the front toes. So we need one of these, two of these, and one of these. So I wonder if this will just snap off, or is that really stupid? Oh, no, there we go. So that's our front toe. And then that's our rear toe. No. This is what I mean about needing that razor saw. So there's our rear toe. And then we have our 2. So we don't need this or that anymore. And then we need these 2. So there should be 2 more. Yes, there they are. So that would be how we would get the rest of the toes. I've said toes a lot tonight. I do apologise for anybody who is not a fan of the old toe. I'm not a fan of the old toe, to clarify. But, you know. So these need cleaning up. So we'll use our knife for this. Have you used much Sigvald Burgundy? I'm wondering if it would work on an Exalted Sorcerer's Cloak straight. I noticed in the past you had to mix some purple with Volupus Pink. I have used quite a bit of Sigvald Burgundy. So these cultists, for example. That's Sigvald Burgundy shaded with Carroburg Crimson. It comes out really nice. So that would work, I think, for a Sorcerer's Cloak. Right, here we go. Just gonna remove some horrid resin. I wonder if I can clip some of this off. Yeah, slightly better, slightly easier to manage. A friend of mine recommended me that I buy some sandpaper to do this, and I was like, that'll take even longer. But I get where he was coming from in terms of just getting some sandpaper for some of those kind of slightly dodgy resin mold lines. There we go, one down. Hello, Play Painted. Specifically old ones. Or you could give it an oxymoron and give it cat ears. Oh, I see. I see. Yeah, we could do that. I need to build the thing first before I start sculpting hats for it. I like the idea of cat ears on a Warhound. That sounds quite entertaining to me. This is a slightly weird texture. This is where that sandpaper would come in handy. A Warhound with hands would look pretty horrifying. I mean, the The Warlord Titan with the giant power claw is terrifying enough. But, like, it's funny because it's one of those things where I think if you gave it 2 power claws, it would just look really silly. It would look like a very angry baby mech. Have I cleaned this one? Yes. Yes, I have. That's the cleaned one. That is also clean. I've done all 3 of the front toes. There we go. Haha, flying through it. I have 2 things I want to do but cannot do. Oh, sorry. Jim. Good evening, Mr. Hipster. Great video on the white scars. It was most helpful. Are you going to do some Lord of the Rings, as I'm loving the new sculpts? Jim, I intend that once that Battle for Osgiliath box comes out, I intend to do every single miniature within that box. More than that, I intend to do so much Lord of the Rings that it's going to make this channel feel like a Lord of the Rings channel. No, I intend to do a lot of Lord of the Rings. I went down a rabbit hole very recently of just kind of watching Lord of the Rings clips, trying to kind of recapture some joy. I think I needed a little bit of a pick me up the other day, so I was watching some Lord of the Rings, some of the Lord of the Rings content, and I was just like, man, this is where it all kind of really started. This is where my serious passion in this really started. I've got to get back to it. So I'm going to be doing tons of it. I promise you, Jim. I have 2 things I want to do, but cannot do. 1, support the Patreon. I have no card yet, and I doubt my parents would let me, even though it's £3 a month and I can make good financial decisions. Well, that's very kind of you, October. You don't have to do that. Watching the videos and all that is a really great way to support the channel. And one day, when you do get a card, if you wish to support the Patreon, that would be really lovely. Do a YouTube channel similar to this. I have not the funds or the amount of contrast paints to do so. Also, the skill, my hands shake so much, which is annoying. Octo, you do not have to be. This is the thing. You do not have to be great at something to do YouTube. If you want to do a YouTube channel, you can do one with a phone and a laptop. You can do it. I believe in you, my friend. You can do it for free if you have a phone, because you've got a camera on your phone. So you can film videos on that, and you can upload that footage to YouTube as you please. If you've got an iPhone, you can even edit that footage on your iPhone. The first 4 videos on this channel were all done on my iPhone. I promise you, you can do it, my friend. I believe in you. If you ever want some like advice, just shoot me an email, realwarhipster@gmail.com, and I'll just give you some tips. If you have any questions, please do. Absolutely do. Join the YouTube revolution. You can do it, my friend. I just saw something horrible. Oh yeah, we did that. Matt Manchip, the angry baby mech should be reserved for the Grey Knights. I agree. So I'm guessing Alice allowed you the use of the washing up bowl. She did. She did allow me the use of washing up bowl. It remained in the goop overnight, and then I immediately got it out, and then it sat on the side in the kitchen for 2 nights, at which point it was removed for the fear of knocking it over. Will you do any more Primarchs, asked Matt. Yes, I will. I've got one right here. There's Rogel Dawn. I've got Magnus the Red over there, the big one over there. I will be doing him soon. And I've also, you know, I have designs on getting the new Angron. I desperately want him. He will be on the channel as well. This is going to be interesting. If you could paint any of the Primarchs, which one would it be? Well, I already did my favourite. I did Sanguinius. He was my favourite Primarch. I would love a couple more Loyalist 40kers. I would love to see a Loyalist. I would love to see a Lehman Russ in 40k. That's the one I kind of dream of. I also really like the representation of Corvus Corax in a short story in the 40k universe. I really would love to see that rendered in plastic on a model. I want to do Perturabo, Conrad Kurz. I don't really want to do Fulgrim at all. I don't like that model so much. I would like him to get a new model. I mean, I would like to paint him, but like he's not top of my list of things to do. I really love the Alfarius model. Vulcan's very nice. The old Angron model, similarly, it just needs an update because it was one of the first ones that came out. So it could do with a fresh new take, a hot new take. Hello, Chris. I take it your dinner arrived. Oh, play painted. That's very kind. I've done what? Which ones have I done now? I forget. I've done Horus. I've done Magnus. I've done the Lion. I've done the Khan. I've done Sanguinius, and I've got Rogel Dawn. So that's 6 of 18. There's 12 more. 12 more that I'm missing. Okay. Well, whilst you were sating yourself, Chris, I have I've cleaned the toes on one foot. Has the casting quality been good? I've had some issues with Forge World quality in some of my kits. Do you know what? Yeah, it has. When I was washing it, sometimes what I like to do is, so I've got my basin of water. I like to just push, like once it's all done, particularly on this one, for example, in the large basin, I filled it up sort of about halfway with just clean water with no soap in it, and I just dropped some of these pieces in, some of the bigger ones like this one, and there were no air bubbles that just kind of came out of like micro fractures in the resin, so it's really nice and solid. There was only one piece that was a little bit holy, and I thought, oh no, it's really bad, but no, it was just the piece that has all of the what's it called, purity seals on it. So actually, it was just a gate that needs to be removed. So I was like, oh, phew. I'm sure there's a website for that sort of carry-on. What? Oh, for the toes. Yeah, it's been all toes so far. Give me them toes! So I'm now just going to clean off the ankle joint. And then we'll be some way towards having done the thingy. Man, I'm so glad that we talked about Lord of the Rings. I'm genuinely really excited for it. I think, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, it's probably my favorite war game, just because of the nostalgic element for me. But I just have so little time to play or do anything with it, that I just haven't done anything with the Lord of the Rings models that I have. And I really, really want to do a lot of stuff with it. The new box gives me a lot of motivation to be able to do stuff for Lord of the Rings. As well as Rings of Power, actually, that being coming. Just because it's one of those sad realities is that if I upload a video like how to paint Men of Minas Tirith in just the middle of nowhere, outside of a release schedule, it's just, no one will watch it. And then when it comes round to actually it being related to a release, I'll be like, hey, people will go, have you painted any Men of Minas Tirith? Yeah. Did a video on it 6 months ago. I think it looks fantastic. Which Lord of the Rings army would you do if you had the time for it? So there's a couple that I really want to do, okay? So I really want to do LotR. I'm not going to try and pronounce it because Chris told me what the correct pronunciation was, and I've forgotten. I want to do LotR, and I want to do Rohan, and I want to do possibly Isengard, but I really do like the idea of doing Moria Goblins as my evil army because I think they're fantastic. Oh god, right. So that goes in the middle. I like the Iron Hills dwarves as well. Adam is here as well. Hello, Adam. 2 of my mods. But my lord, there is no such force. Tens of thousands. Oh, this is just going to be an arse. That way? This is what I'm... So look at this. So that's not part of the gate. That's part of the model because that goes in there. Uh-oh. So we're going to have to just clip it off that way. So if that's the front... Is that the front toe joint is the big question. And do these sit flush? I don't know is the answer. Anyway. So essentially, what it's going to look like... It's going to be one of those things where all we end up doing is dry fitting. That is the correct bit, yes. So I saw a tip online where you use a base. Gareth, I've done 2 Emperor's Children guides. So we've done one for the Horus Heresy. Oh god. So actually I've got the Emperor's Child right here. So there's this guy, Emperor's Children. In fact, I've done 3 technically. So we've got that's the Heresy colour. We've got one on Saul Tarbit, and we've also done Fabius Bile as well. So here's the question: does that sit flush? Yes. Oh god, I'm gonna have to carve it. Boo. When is your birthday, Jack? When is your 23rd birthday? I'm going to be 32. That's very good, Adam. Very good indeed. September 2nd. Ah, okay. My birthday is September 26th. We're almost birthday bros. That Salt Harvest bit still cuts deep. Yeah, 8 to the 40k homeboy he's not happy with me because I use Slanesh Grey to highlight sort of it. But didn't say anything when I used Iron Warriors on the Imperial Fist. I'm just saying, bro. Okay, so that goes there like that. That goes there like that, allegedly. And these should all be the same. More or less the same, apparently. Unless it's a case of they're not all the same. They look all the same to me. Anyway. Let's just keep dry fitting, shall we, for the time being. So that goes in there like that. And then that one goes on. Well, hang on. So that goes there like that. That goes there like that. And then that goes there. Like that. Do you know what? I've already answered the question on the stream. Which is more complicated? 40k or this Titan? This Titan. Octo, you're going to pop off now. Alright then, buddy. I will see you very soon. Curious if you've ever tried the Artis Opus series, S series, and if so, what you think in comparison to the M series. I've not used the S series. No, not really. I just use the M's because of the tiny detail. I don't really know the range that well. I would like to do the Series D. Check your comments. Have you commented on it again? Okay, we need to go bits hunting again. We're looking for the rear joint. Is that one of them? Yes. There we go. It's one of the rear. So these are slightly different to these ones. Ah. This part will go in here like that, but again I'm gonna have to shade that down just a little bit. And then the rear toe, which is this one, will go on there. Theoretically. Oh, for God's sake. You sure that's the rear toe, Josh? Yes, that is the rear toe. I don't want to have to shave you down, but I will do it. Just want to dry fit it. And so it was that Warhipster lost his mind whilst building the greatest resin kit of all times. Okay, we're just going to have to take a matter of a few 1/10 of it. Just to give it something to stick on. Haha, gotcha. How I put my Titan together using only skin friction. Yeah, so I've basically been told that I need to get some 2-part epoxy to get some serious bond. And that realistically this should sit like that, and that one should go in there like that. Deary me. Oh yes, he does. Yeah, no, so I haven't done a 40k pink one yet. Don't mix the epoxy on the model like Guy from Midwinter Minis did. Oh, no, no, no. So I found this Gorilla Glue 2-part epoxy that comes out of the tube mixed, which I think I might buy. I was just doing research to see whether or not it's going to melt resin, because it might. You never know. You never know with these things. Okay. So, when it's glued together, is there a lip? Yes. But that's saying that there isn't. Oh, it's because it's a silly picture. Epoxy doesn't melt resin. No, fair enough. It's just that there was a couple of things that said it melted something. It was this particular glue that I saw. It was like, this is a super strong bond. Don't use it on this. I was like, okay. What about Forge World resin? I'm just waiting to hear back. I don't want to get anything that's too complicated for my poor little brain to work to handle. Because I get nervous enough as it is using stuff that's, you know, not Games Workshop, basically. Okay, that needs trimming a little bit further. So we're just going to take off sort of that much. And then that should go in there nice and flat. Yes. I do need to trim this bit down as well. So we need to take off roughly that much. So this is where the saw would be handy. Get out. Okay. There we go. I think I've taken too much off this one. Never mind. Once it's glued, it'll be fine. It's not like it's load bearing or anything. I think I need to clean this off, don't I? Yes. That's going to be inside the joint. No one will ever see that. So there we go. Humboldt Labs, what contrast and shade paints do you recommend I get before I start uploading? I'm back for a minute. It depends on. Oh, that's a really difficult question. I think from shade paints perspective, the most important ones for me are Agrak Surf Shade, Reichland Flesh Shade, Targor Raid Shade, Soulblight Grey. Those are the most important ones. Contrast-wise, I think you probably need one of the prime colours. Choose a favourite. So like Bile Red or Blood Angels Red doesn't really matter. If you take Bile Red, then you can shade it. Blood Angels Red is a little bit more versatile. Contrast Medium is a very good paint to have, just because you can use that to create even more colours with your contrast paint by thinning it down, or by by thinning it down basically. Black Templar or Black Legion. If you buy Black Templar, you need to get some stuff to go underneath it, so Black Legion's probably a better shout. Green, I would recommend Orc Flesh. I think that's my favourite. Or Karandrus Green. I think that's a very nice paint. Probably either Achillean Green or Pterodon Turquoise. Apothecary White's good, but Soulblight Grey is a very good option for white. Basilicanum Grey is very versatile. You can use that for a lot of things. You can use it for shading or just for painting grey details. Skeleton Horde is a must-have for bone details. Just makes it so much quicker and easier to do bone. And then a brown, I would probably recommend Wildwood, because again, you can use that as itself to do like leather and stuff, or flesh or whatever. But you can also use Wildwood if you thin it right down as like a shade. You can also use it to mix it with something like Black Templar to give you a really dark black brown. That's really nice. Do you have any idea why I get random spots on my mini where the contrast doesn't stay? I end up with little white dots surrounded by paint. Sometimes it can be just a case of the paint needs to be shook a little harder. Other reasons, it might be that you have some moisture on there, or a bit of grease from your hands or whatever. That can happen, so it can make it a little bit glossier than normal. Sometimes when you prime, you can just get these slightly glossier spots if you like just caught it wrong, or you put a little bit too much on in certain patches without realizing it, or there was a lot of moisture in the air, so sometimes that can happen. Yeah, like I said, paint needing to be shook a little bit harder. Or there's just a weird invisible deformity in the plastic or resin. I find it usually happens on resin, and it's just that there's like this kind of fake edge there. It's like a bobble. It's like an upwards bobble. It's like no, what would you call it? It's not concaved. It's the opposite of a concave. But yeah, something like that. There's lots of different reasons why it can happen. It happens to me as well on occasion. Yeah, in fact, it happened whilst I was painting these swooping hawks. Convex. Thank you, Humboldt. Or Octo. Sore subject. Thank you, Mr. Boo. Very good. Very good. Right, let's get clipping. So I believe you have to trim pistons on this, which is, you know, a bit annoying. I'm probably going to build both of these feet as just flat planted on the ground, rather than do it like walking, because I know that I'm just going to get into trouble doing that. Oh, don't make me trim you as well. I'll get mad. Don't get mad, get even. Don't be sad. Alright, Battlefield 2. 2042. Yeah, I'll see you later, buddy. Small toe piston. Cut to required lengths. Okay. Yes. And you need 2, 4, 6 for each foot. Toe piston. Oh, okay. And then you need a big one to go between the... And you need 3 big ones. So there you go. So that's the 3 bits you need. So there must be another packet of small toe pistons in there that I didn't see. Interesting. Very interesting. 19 likes on the stream. It's very kind. Smash that like button if you're enjoying the stream, guys. Lets YouTube know that I'm doing a good job and that you're enjoying it. It helps more people see me suffering in the heat. And we all know more people want to see me suffering in the heat. That is a thing that everybody wants to see. Man, I know I titled this, you know, is it more complex? And we answered that question very quickly. But, like, I genuinely have this question of, like, people... I hear a lot of people complain about the complexity of Warhammer 40,000. And I'm at this kind of juncture where I'm like, well, you guys clearly didn't play in 7th edition. Because... that was a complex game. This game is not complex. There's a lot to remember if you believe that you have to know every single thing that's going on in the game. But I counter that argument with no, you don't. I was talking about this yesterday, in fact, in that actually the only things you do need to know now are the core rules, which are very slimline. You only need to know your data sheets, and you need to know what your sub-faction does. You don't need to know anything else, which is just light years away from where it used to be. Whereas these instructions require a lot of guesswork. Oh, that needs to be thinned just a little bit more. Good afternoon, Paul. Okay, that should be enough. Gonna work for me now? Yes. Alrighty. Okay, so once again, dry fitting everything, making sure it all goes together properly. We can worry about posing later. Oh, I've already done this. Haha. Okay. Now we're cooking with gas, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. So what we're reckoning the overall build time for this guy will be. We've been going for an hour and I've dry fit the toes. So long. The thing I'm interested to see is, yeah, next page. Is kind of roughly how the leg goes together. So there's one of our legs. There we go. So that part goes in here. So this could probably actually just be cleaned off because I don't need the saw for that. That's all good. I'd like to try and do it all on stream, Dan, because... Do you mind if I call you Dan? Or would you prefer me to full name you? I might have also asked you that before, and I apologise if I have. I want to try and do most of it on stream, because this is the Titan that we all got together with the raffle. So I feel like I want you guys to be a part of this journey of discovery and sadness. Right, and then that's the knee armor, and that just slots in there like that. Oh, it's chunky. So that'll go in there like so. Just leave that balanced. How I put my Warhound Titan together in the worst way possible. Let's go, baby. So yeah, that goes in there like so. 24-hour build stream, then a separate 24-hour paint stream. I mean, that is something we could possibly do. Build it in a sitting, paint it in a sitting, prime it in a sitting. That would be the worst primed video. Okay, so that goes there like that. So now we need the next piece up. And what is that? Is it really genuinely just this? No, can't be. Because it's like that. Yeah, it was another bit. That way round? That way round. So, there we go. That's the hip joint. So there's a lower thigh here somewhere that I'm not seeing. Ah! Found it! So, that will go in there. And then we've got more pistons to put in. But that... Oh yeah, and then there's a piston that goes here. And that bit goes in there. Interesting. So there's a bit of armour. Rickets, thank you very much. "24-hour Josh crying video after done." Even your first time in a while, doing some hobby on my own, working on some much smaller Paragon warships, and glad to see that you have this massive project going on. And Prime Titan. Hello, Klaus. Thinking of painting some heresy vehicles as salamanders, what would you suggest for the glaze over 2 layers of contrast, following the same method as your other vehicle vids? That is a very good question. Possibly warp stone glow. At a push. What's your base colour that you're doing, Rickets? What colour are you doing a couple of layers of? Which green? Are you doing Warp Lightning? Are you doing Karandras Green? Which one are you planning on doing? So I should just clip this bit off, right? That's what I should do. What have I done with... Ah ha ha! Virus of Nurgle. Random acts of kindness in this hobby is fantastic. It is. Like, I get so many of them. And I love it when it happens. It makes me ever so very, very happy. Whenever anyone does a donation or subscribes to Patreon or anything like that. Because it's just mind-blowing to me. Like, you know, I'm seriously in a amazingly privileged position that I get to do this because all of you support me doing this, and it's mad to think that that's a thing. You're doing Warp Lightning, okay? So you have 2 choices, my good friend. Warp Lightning, you can glaze it with Warpstone Glow. However, you need to be careful because Warpstone Glow is finicky. So what you could do is you could take some... Where is it? If you take some Cabalite Green to form a really nice base and just brighten it up. You could brighten it up with some white or something. But basically, the answer is Warpstone Glow. But Warpstone Glow is, I find, a temperamental paint at best sometimes. So it might be best to maybe try and fiddle around with maybe either making a mix that you think is close, or just using Warpstone Glow. Or you could use Moot Green. Moot Green as a glaze could work, but then it would be really bright. So you could mix, actually to be fair, you could mix Moot Green and Warp Lightning. It's a really tricky one doing it over the big tanks, because I've not done a Salamander's big tank. Personally. Yeah, I would give okay, after all that, my recommendation would be Warpstone Glow, I think. Yeah, my recommendation would be Warpstone Glow. In the glaze method, but you don't need to thin it down quite as much as I think I do in that thing. You don't think you need to put like, I think if I recall in that video I did like a 7 or 8 parts. You only really need to do about 4 or 5 parts for Warpstone Glow. So as far as I can understand this, we need the knee piston really to be able to make head nor tail of this. And that involves finding the knee piston. Which one of you is a knee piston? Oh, piston. Piston Pete. Where are they? Is that a knee piston? No. Oh, knee piston part 1, knee piston part 2. Okay, there are 2 parts to it. Fun. So that looks like a knee piston to me. And then we need the knee piston part 2. That's the ankle. There's a toe. Hip. We've got it. So the knee pistons come in 2 parts as well. Okay, that is what the knee piston looks like. So this, yep, there. Oh, okay, I see how it works. Yes, very clever. It's not clever, it's silly, Warhipster. It's difficult. It's difficult, lemon, difficult. Ow. So yeah, part of the reason why I'm talking about complexity of 40k right now is a lot of people are saying that the new demon saves rule is really hard and it adds a load of complexity to the game, when actually what it does a very good job of making the game very, very simple for playing against demons. And that's all it does. Just makes it very, very, very simple. You don't need to worry about AP. You don't need to worry about cover. Don't have to worry about any of that, because usually with such rules, you can't modify it. And I think they said it in the article, but usually, if it's the same as it is in AOS with the Nighthorn, it's you can't modify positively or negatively. So I don't understand where the complexity comes in there. They have 2 saves, just like anybody. one is at range, and one is in combat. And you don't have to remember it as somebody who's playing against them. Your demons player has to remember it. This is just annoying. Okay, well. Okay, so this goes together like this. This then goes in like that. And then you've got this piston here, which connects the two. So you end up with something that looks roughly like that. You then have this bit that goes on up here. And that is what gives you the full leg. Which then clips into your ridiculous foot. So the thing to do here, rear thigh piston, no, naturally, is to probably have it really bent. Like that sort of thing. You could almost glue the leg in that way so that the body sits over the top of the feet. That would be how I would do it. Well, that's how I will do it, probably. Something along those lines. And then you just hope that all the pistons can reach. And that the leg armor fits. Okay. So I'm gonna chop this one off. I'm gonna do it down here so that we don't get that shock. Aha. No, not well, maybe, Klaus. It depends on how I feel. I mean, I suppose having him standing on something gives him a lot of stability. Because that's one of the main draws of doing it, right? If you take like a tank, for example, and chop it up, you can create a wide bottom for the bottom of his foot. So then it just acts as kind of like a tactical rock. The problem with doing it is there's not a lot of give, as far as I can tell, in this kit for... Bearing in mind, I am not the most skilled builder. This is the thing I hate doing the most. But like, there's not a lot of give in the knee for it to all sit flush. So you'll end up with one leg a bit bent, one leg a bit too straight, I think, possibly. I don't know. This is hard, man. Knew I should have got a Thunderhawk gunship. Think of the views, Josh. Think of the views. When you put out a video of how to paint Warhound Titan with contrast paint and a hairy stick. People will lose their minds. Mostly for the choice of words of hairy stick. Hello, Booty Juice. Hello, that's one big foot. Yeah, it's a big boy. Oh, God. Okay, so there we go. That is more or less one leg. Okay, so you need to have the leg bent a little bit so that you don't kick forward the knee plate or the shin plate. Interesting. Okay. Get out of here. Right. Because that's where that goes. Because theoretically there's a bit more give in the piston. Not tons, but there's some. You see how it aligns? And then it also sits in that gap. I don't know how you would build it completely straight up. You need to build it like that so that it connects. Which then means that this piece up here sits. Okay. Yeah. No, I'm getting it now. Starting to get it. Starting to understand it a little bit more. There we go. So now it would just be a case of clipping some pistons. I'm hesitant to glue it together with just normal super glue. Particularly on the feet. I've thought about it, and I think I'll wait a couple of years before starting a channel. I'll be 18 and probably at uni with a part-time job, so we'll have the time and probably funds to start one. I can also do it without my parents bugging me when I'm recording or whatever. That will be nice. That would be nice, Humboldt. It's one of the biggest problems you will face making YouTube videos is external noise. When I lived in London, the traffic outside my flat was so bad that there are so many clips of where I had to restart it. It was the #1 killer of my videos. And here it's just nature. And people seem to like the nature. So I generally tend to leave it in a little bit. Could pin the feet. No, we could pin the feet, but I'm hesitant to do that because I can't be asked. I think for this one, you generally just need good glue. And I am more prone to seriously fucking it up. Because I am not confident with the drill and resin. I'm a bad hobbyist, what can I say? Okay. So I just need to clip those bits off, but we also need to figure out this situation with these guys. So this is why the advice that I received was to do it on a base, was that if you do it flat on the ground, you can end up with a slightly weird situation where the pistons are a little bit bent. So you see how it's, you can't really see it, but if I just now you can kind of see it there. See how it's got an angle on it? So you want to try and avoid that. So yeah, like I said, I was reading this thing of just pop it on a base like that. Means you can get all your feet nice and flush to the ground. Plastic cement wouldn't really work here because it's resin. Give UV resin a shot, Josh. It's just like glue, but you use a special torch to set it. Interesting. I always pin my resin models unless it's very small. No, that's fair, Vlad. As mentioned, I'm a really bad hobbyist, so... He's a naughty boy. The gel that Gorilla Glue do. Let's look at UV resin. UV resin. Have anyone got any recommendations for UV resin? Super glue gel. Why is this good? Why is the gel good? Can someone tell me? That's the question I have, Dave. How do you set UV resin with a torch if it's hidden inside a joint? So yeah, if the UV resin's in there to hold that, how is that going to set by shining UV on it? Or are we going to just sit there for 4 million years whilst we wait for it to dry without the torch? You see a dry fit foot. Should we clip out some toe pistons? That's one. And that's two. So these go in here, but you have to clip them out to the length that you want them at. So you have to be very careful here, so as not to mess it up. Like that. This one then goes in that way around. No. That way around. Toe! I think if we can get 1 foot ready for glue, and then I'll do a little bit more investigating. I like the idea of the gel that you guys are recommending to me. If it's got a really strong bond. I could use this micro precise over here, but I worry that it's not going to be strong enough to hold up the weight of the Titan. So I need something a little bit stronger. Just a smidgen stronger. So that's where that one goes. You think I'd use a 2-part epoxy? You and gaffer tape. Take a bit more off that one. There we go. So that is what each of the toes will look like. Word is bond. Excellent. See, I would pin it, but I know what'll happen. I will drill right through the Titan. It's me we're talking about. I will go right through, and I'll ruin an important bit. And then I'll be on the phone to Forge. Well, I'll just look, I ruined this bit. Why? Because I drilled it. I think we can do it with the right glue, and I think the 2-part epoxy is probably the right call. Like. So, this is the glue I was thinking about. Gorilla Epoxy. But not recommended for use on polyethylene or polypropylene plastic or similar materials. Because I don't want to have to mix it in a pot and then spoon it on and then put it together. I want it to be reasonably simple. Whereas this just looks like you just press the plunger and it comes out. Which is just really useful. So this is kind of what I was thinking of getting. I don't know what you guys think. Who wants to see inside YouTube? Ah! You still need to mix that stuff. Do I? Is it too... Oh, of course you do, yeah. Yeah, you have to... Oh. Okay. Look at like the third photo. Okay. Yeah, okay, yeah, you're right. You still have to mix it. Okay, well, we're not going to get away with it. Watch Guy's build vid, mate. I'm sure he uses something like that. Yeah. I will figure it out. I pledge. My word is my bond. It shall be done. Let's just keep getting these pistons cut out. Let's just get all the bits nice and ready for the day when we do. It's a Warhound, right? It is, Peter. It is indeed a Warhound. Naturally. You think the gel would be enough? Okay. I don't have any clamps, but what I do have is an enormous arse, and I intend to sit on the Titan. You don't think the gel would be enough, Jack? bits of resin stuck to me. Epoxy is 100% the way to go. Oh god, this is the problem with doing a project like this. Is there are so many resources on the internet and they all disagree. Because I've read, you know, pin every piece, including the pistons, and I'm like, no, no, there is such a thing as overkill. Now, you don't want the build to take you 4 million years. Otherwise, you'll be still working on this come next Christmas. Like I get like pinning some stuff on the body. Yeah, I 100%. I understand that, and I still might pin stuff like the guns, but maybe, I don't know. Like I said, I'm just really not confident with it because I hate building, guys. I really hate building. Building for me is the worst part of this hobby. Right, we just need 3 more pistons. Yes, that's a yeah, Dave. That was one of the things I learnt, is that one of the benefits of getting something like sandpaper is that if you do, it's much easier to rough. Well, you can rough up the surface, meaning the glue will bond better. Yeah, epoxy. Okay, looks like we're getting some epoxy, guys. Well, I'm enjoying doing this with you. Regardless of what we end up doing, I think epoxy is probably what we're going to end up doing. I think that's possibly the right way. You know, I think generally that's probably the right thing to do. And look, at the end of the day, if it doesn't really matter how it goes together. It just matters that it gets painted with contrast paint. That's really what matters. Because this will be officially the largest model painted with contrast paint. I'm certain of it. I don't think anyone else has done something like this. It's one of those funny ones as well, because it's like, do you do a contrast plus how to paint Warhound Titan? Or do I paint it all live on stream with you guys? I wish I could do both, but I don't have 2 Warhound Titans. Chris Cost guts it. That's awesome, buddy. A to the 40k home. What? If you want to paint that in contrast, go for it. We'll see how this one goes, Peter. If this one goes well, and people are like, oh my god, bet you couldn't do it on a Warlord, then we'll chat, Peter. Or I could run another raffle, I suppose. I could raffle off the Warhound to get a Warlord. Oh no, do it in stages. Raffle off the Warhound to get a Reaver. Raffle off the Reaver to get a Warlord. And then wish that I still had all 3. I could have had a Legio. I have no money. Alright, here we go. Last piston going in. There we go. There we have it. So that is a foot. So then you have the ankle pistons. As well. And they can be resized. Yes. Depending on how you want him to be sort of standing. Like I said, first foot being flat on the ground is the right call, I think. So then this bad boy balances in there like that. So then the ankle pistons go on. This then goes together like that. Yeah. So the sensible thing to do is to put all of this in a little baggie so that we know that it's all together. Do you get 2 sets of these knee pistons? Or do these come up again? Sorry about that. Dropped out for a moment. So those are bits not used. And those are bits not used. So they can go back in the box. Will you be painting the armor plates separately? Well, here's the big question. Does a contrast painted Titan require everything to be painted with a brush? So there's an armor plate, for example. So there's one. There's one on here, which, you know, I'm not going to spray that separately. So the question is basically, do I prime these with grey cere or wraithbone or however I choose to do it, and prime the rest of it with a metallic? Part of me feels like that is the right call. Just leaving these main parts off, but I am also very impatient and I like to see the whole thing put together. So I may end up spraying the whole thing with grey cere and painting the whole thing like I would normally. That said, I don't know. I don't know is the answer. Like, this bit, for example, will cover up a large majority of the thing. So there you go. That's the big bit. This bit needs to come out at some point in the future for the grill. Yeah, I don't know yet is the answer. I might leave these ones off so I can get it right into all of this stuff, because dry fitting this at the moment is leading me to believe that it would be a bit annoying to try and get one's brush in down there, especially when there's pistons in the way. That's the only thing I'm thinking will be a bit annoying. But I don't know. Is the answer. Oh, we're missing a bit on here. Is that the thigh piston? I haven't done the ankles yet either. Rear thigh piston, yeah. I love this so much. I'm also, I should just say, I'm tempted to paint the whole thing yellow with Imperial Fist yellow. So how does it go together? Oh, there's a hip joint. Oh, I see. Okay. So the hip joint goes in there like that, and then that attaches that way. Not like how I thought it was, where it was just that. It's very, very, very skinny. Very, very skinny Warhound indeed. Yeah. Okay. Alright. So, plan of action then, guys. Next time, I need to get some epoxy. So, next time we get together, I will put together... I'll do the same thing for the other leg in the meantime. So, we've got pretty much all of the bits for the foot. So, we're like, you know, so we're ready for that kind of thing. And we'll glue the legs together, hopefully, next time. Because we won't do another stream where I clip out and dry fit everything on one another foot. That would be boring. So we will do it that way, I suspect. I think that's a good idea. Let me know if you think that's a good idea. If you don't think that's a good idea and you do want to see me keep doing it this way, then by all means. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this bag. And I'm going to put all of these bits in so that we know that this is one leg together. So that goes in there. That's in there. They go together. I'll just pull those apart. They don't need to be like that. It just means that next time, Peter, you'll see stuff come together. I think he is steaming tonight. Oh. I am a bit hot. So, before I go, can you guys just, if you've got an epoxy recommendation, can you just drop it in the chat for me? So what was left to get out of that? Oh, it was the rear thigh piston. I'll just try and find that now. That's an ankle. Oh. How many thigh pieces are there? Ankle, ankle, ankle. 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 What does the thigh piston look like? Is it one of these? I don't need a toe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we will need 1, 2, 3, 4. One with ankle. Yeah, 5. That's our 5 ankle pistons. I think this is the thigh. Ankle and toe. It's a knee. Hip. No, I need the thigh. That's the hip. We don't need the hip. There's more toes. Hip as well. So this must be via the process of elimination. One of these will go in there. JB Weld plastic bonder. Yeah, it must be. I'm just going to clip one off. Screw it. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Haha. Yeah, there we go. That's a thigh piston. And I needed 5 more ankles. Yes. Okay. So 5 ankles and this going in. There we go. 1 leg. One leg is ready for epoxy. And I will buy some epoxy, and I shall buy a saw as well, because I need one, and the little one I've got is not going to be man enough for some of these jobs. I'm mostly thinking about this area here. I need a saw to get through that. For the body. Oh god, don't want to throw you out. Just make sure everything in the area is still kosher. Yes. go. Part 1 of the Titan build. Done. Alright. Big saw, get the Tamiya one. Small one, get the JLC ones. I want to replace Corax White and the suggestions, guys. I swear I will never buy another Corax White. They all become chewy. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. So someone in the chat might be able to help you. Just whilst I clean up. I have to make my space nice and presentable for when I'm filming this weekend on Saturday and Sunday, because tomorrow I am busy. And there's our building base. Pro Acryl White, 3G acrylics, AK Interactive Intense White. There you go. There's some good examples. I believe Army Painter do a good white as well. Alright. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, we've been going for 2 hours. It's exactly 1 hour longer than I thought I would survive, but it has cooled down. It's now 29 degrees in here, which is good. But on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to finish. So thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight and for all your suggestions in terms of how I glue this bad boy together. I will look at some epoxy possibilities. And I'll try and get some, and I will try and build both legs next week. That might include doing the hips as well, but we'll see. We'll see how I get on in terms of time, because time is an invaluable resource that I have very little of all of the time. So thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you for liking the stream. If you haven't already done so, please do so. And if you would like to support me further, you can do on Patreon and YouTube memberships. It would be really awesome, but is not a requirement. Hanging out is the only requirement. Well, you're not required to do anything. It's your choice. It's your life. But yes, thanks for hanging out, Klaus. I'm funnily enough, I'm building some AdMech for you very, very shortly. So I will catch you. Oh, Peter, that's very kind of you. Thank you very much. Right. I will see you all next time. Say Warhipster channels. Say, oh God, I got that so wrong. I will see you all next time. Same Warhipster time, same Warhipster channel. Next Wednesday. Have a good one, everybody. Happy wargaming. You guys are the best and I love you. Kisses. Goodbye. Farewell.